As someone that has been a specialist in music for over 2 decades, it wasn't until recently that I've really come to understand how and why the Maplestory music had a huge impact on our experience in the game. And when you break it down, it played a much deeper role on us emotionally and to a certain extent, even psychologically. Without boring you too much with my nerdy knowledge and musical terminologies, I'm going to try and be as blunt as possible. While there are currently dozens upon dozens of background music tracks in Maplestory, upon careful consideration, I came to the conclusion that only a few of these tracks hold some deeper significance in marking what Maplestory was all about. Even though this video can appear to come across as slightly subjective, it is still needless to say that the music in Old School Maplestory excelled in general. However, I felt that these 5 tracks played a pivotal role in our lives on and off the game, and that they struck a great balance between nostalgia and musical complexity. This track is played throughout your time spent in the tree trunks of Alinea, and even though it isn't as musically complex as other tracks, it makes this list because of the situation that we were all in at the time. Back when we had just started out and we were all low levels, it was a point in our Maple lives where we were very curious and were able to fully enjoy the feeling of constantly leveling and trying out new skills. Discovering and spending most of that time in the tree trunks of Alinea, where the atmosphere was very melancholic and the mob rate was high, just made the music and map a truly nostalgic place. Because once most of us reached a point where leveling started to become a tedious grind, we weren't able to truly recapture those early moments again. And while you could argue that there were other maps that also captured a similar feeling, such as Hennessy's Hunting Ground 1 and the Pig Beach, the music in the tree trunks of Alinea was a lot more satisfying to listen to when killing mushrooms and had a much more memorable theme. And now that most of us are now retired from the game, listening back to the track after many years of absence would make us discover a different quality to it. When we were young, we saw the track in a very upbeat and happy way, whereas now we've discovered that element of sadness to it, especially when the melody resolves. What's poetic about this track is that it is called Missing You, which in context suggests that the map enjoyed entertaining our presence, when in actual fact it was us that enjoyed entertaining it. Only to be played in a party quest during certain levels, the Ludibrium Fantasia has gained the admiration of many people. As many of you already know, it was really hard to enter a party quest because during certain times of the day there were a ridiculous number of parties, and that the cap was only 1 party being allowed to enter per channel. That means when your leader actually managed to successfully get you into the party quest, it felt like a huge sigh of relief to finally listen to something different, other than that cheesy comical theme from EOS Tower. It was almost like Maplestory rewarded you with a secret bonus soundtrack. Other party quests, such as the ones in Hennessy's, Kerning City, Arion and Magatia, recycled soundtracks that had already existed in maps outside of their party quests, and therefore didn't feel as special when entering. There is an exception for Orbis party quest though, as that also had a bonus soundtrack. However, while I have much respect for this track, the soothing nature of the Ludibrium Fantasia is harmonically more magical, and that it did a better job of portraying the overall theme for that particular party quest. Another reason why I believe this track would also gain the hearts of others is due to the amount of socializing that people did from waiting around. People also met their significant others from gatherings like these, and because the social life was regarded as one of the main factors to why Old School Maplestory was loved, this track didn't just serve as a bonus reward upon entry, but it served as something more memorable that we have attached ourselves to whenever we want to be reminded of how special the social part of the game was. By far one of the more musically complex tracks to exist in Maplestory, while utilising a lot of orchestral instrumentation, The theme moves in a stepwise motion underneath a waltz-like dance, which creates a perfect formula of music writing that can become really memorable. However, despite the qualities of this track, this wasn't the only reason why it made this list. Since the start of 2005, it wasn't for another 3 years until Nexon released a new Explorer class called Pirates, and then just under a year later, Knights of Cygnus. After that, content was being released at a rapid speed, followed by the Big Bang update, drastic UI changes, and many new job classes. And when we go back to the Cygnus Garden soundtrack, not only was it popular for its endearing harmonies and melody, but its significance showed us that it was the start of some big changes that were about to come, thus marking the end of an era. And that the Maplers from that era would have to prepare themselves for change and the new phase that Maplestory was about to enter. The Happyville theme arrived to us on a yearly basis every Christmas. And yeah, this track really does hit a spot inside you. Every Christmas, we would all make it a tradition to go to the Happyville map to be greeted with this soundtrack and partake in the Christmas quests and events. Almost everything about this track is perfect in every way. The choice of instrumentation, the speed, the theme, how the musical phrases resolve, how it complements the visuals that you see in the map, how it's able to evoke a Christmassy feeling, and doing all this while staying true to Maplestory's iconic guitar sound and drum beat. Because most of us were young and enjoyed our yearly celebrations of snow and Christmas, this track has aged so well that it has now managed to connect itself to our older selves on a deeper emotional level. A level that far exceeds nostalgia and that other people wouldn't begin to understand that feeling if they were to hear it for the first time. And even though this track subjectively falls short from the top spot of this list, it has earned the love and respect from me and many others. This track doesn't connect with us on a level in which the others on this list did. I still felt that it deserved an honourable mention. It is a completely different style of music, one that uses a lot of sound effects to convey the horrors of what lurked within the dungeons of Sleepywood. And even though the music went a bit unnoticed when we were busy killing zombie mushrooms in the safer part of the dungeon, the track would start to evoke more feelings of anxiety and uneasiness the deeper down we went. Being the low levels that we were, going deep into the dungeon was a place not for the faint-hearted because an absurd number of scary and powerful monsters lived down there. Making one wrong decision or jump would effectively result in death. If you were able to reach a part of the deep dungeon where the Cold Eyes, Ice Drakes and Tauros lurked, you would begin to truly understand how terrifying the music was. The string and vocal harmonies give off a very eerie vibe, a feeling of despair, almost as if you can hear the desperate cries of the dead. While this may be a controversial choice, there isn't a more nostalgic track to exist other than the music from the Maplestory login intro. The very first song that you listen to when logging in for the first time, but also the last song that you listen to when logging in for the last time. Just the opening passage alone is so iconic and full of viral quality to the point that you would instantly recognize it from a mile away. Despite the fact that it got rather boring after constantly listening to it upon every login, people have been away from the game for so long now that it has reached the point where it would be difficult to predict how one would react upon re-listening to it. The track itself is rather long, yet it still is able to maintain listener interest. It does a really good job in smoothly extending the main theme, as well as bringing back that iconic guitar passage in more creative ways, as opposed to just repeating it. While every track in the game has its own unique qualities about them, a lot of inspiration derived from the musical characteristics of the login intro song. The guitar sound, the piano sound, the drum beat, and the main theme all lay the foundation to what all of the tracks are right now.